Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. And my name is Mike Amos. He is Bill Rice Jr. And it is the 15th day of October. We're right straight up halfway through the month of October, and we hope you're doing well. We're coming to you live on Facebook this morning, across the country, across the world. So call your friends in Honolulu and tell them to beam us in, because we're on live television. The big news, of course, is Saban has the virus. Tell us about it, Rice.
Yesterday at around noon or 1, he was notified by Alabama's trainer that he had the virus. He's tested every day. Every player is tested every day. And he immediately left the building. Also, the athletic director, Greg
Saban had left the building with the virus.
And, the good news is, so far, he's completely asymptomatic. No symptoms, feels fine. But we'll know more today when they're going to, again, test everybody in the program. And we were just talking off air. It seems like that the head football coach of the football team would have come in contact with everybody on the football team. So I'd be surprised if this football game Saturday takes place, but maybe it will.
I sure hope so, but I don't want it to cost anybody any lives. Let me just say this about this virus. If you come in contact, of course, it's very contagious, as everybody says, and does that mean that he's going to be on quarantine? He'll be in a room by himself for how many days?
At least 10. Now, he did say that he was going to get retested. It could be a false positive. If you get if you test positive once and then you take 2 or 3 tests and they're all negative, they throw it out and say, all right, that really wasn't a positive. So that's happened before. But like you also said, he's asymptomatic now. Sometimes the symptoms come on a couple of days later. I was just looking at this picture in the Dothan Eagle of President Trump Wednesday.
Yeah, did he look well?
God, he looks as good as he's ever looked.
Yeah, that's right. He's taking all the modern medicines that
whatever he did worked.
I wonder if all of his medicines that he's been taking have been approved by the FDA.
Probably not. Experimental, yeah. But he had a rough couple of days, obviously, but he seems to be back 100%.
Of course, we got a lot to talk about, including this. Now, the SEC coaches continue to be the nation's richest. When Nick Saban touched down in Tuscaloosa on January 4th, 2007, he did so with an 8-year contract for $32 million. So he was making $4 million a year for 8 years right off the bat. It says, let's bring up Mike Amos in here this morning. Good morning, Mike. Is that you or is that Will?
That's me. Morning.
Mike Amos coming in here. Are you on Zoom this morning or what?
Yeah. Hopefully, I can show you all the water. It's like a big swimming pool out here. It's gorgeous.
So no waves. It's just very calm waters.
Yeah, a lot of dolphins out there this morning as well. It's real pretty.
We've been talking about Saban being tested positive for COVID-19 virus. What does that do for you?
Well, I mean, you got to practice what you preach, and that's the only thing that bothers me. You tell these guys to do all the right thing, all these players. You're talking about 100-something guys, and all your coaches and stuff as well. And then somehow Saban and Greg Byrne, the athletic director, did it. I mean, I know there's a lot of cases apparently in Oxford, Mississippi. So I would think that maybe they got it when they were in, Ole Miss Alabama game last weekend. But it's going to be tough for Alabama. Saban's not going to be able to be. He might be in somebody's box or something, or university box, isolated, and maybe have a headphones on. I don't know what the SEC allows. I don't know. Also, he's won 22 straight against his former assistant coaches. Would this be a Steve Sarkisian lost Bill Rice, or would this be?
I mentioned that to my wife, Michael. That, will there be an asterisk if Alabama loses? Well, he technically wasn't on the sidelines, and I'm wouldn't be surprised at all if Alabama loses if they play the game.
Mike,
if Alabama loses this game, I mean, the rest of the season could be totally up there. I mean, you could still win the West, which is very possible. I think they're still the best team in the West, and replay Georgia in the SEC championship game. But if they have one more loss, these players are going to be going out. They're going to be not in this bubble anymore, and you could see 3 losses, 4 losses. You never know if guys come down with the virus and can't play.
That's right. Well, look at Virginia Tech. They're a good example. That's the top 10 program probably this year because they were looking to have a great year, and now they've just lost everything.
I will say that,
I'll show you all the water this morning. It's absolutely gorgeous down here.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Gulf of Mexico. That's your sunrise right there, and it's such a beautiful sunrise every morning. And there's the Gulf of Mexico.
Gosh, it is calm.
And go down and show them the beach, the white sands of Panama City Beach. There's up toward that right there is
the pier.
The pier at Pier Park, which is the most go-to place down there is Pier Park.
Ooh, that's when I would like to be in the ocean, right there.
Yeah, that's right. And because when it gets rough, I'm afraid it'll slam me down and I can't get back up.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful sunrise this morning and this afternoon from
Panama City Beach, Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, Thomas's Donuts.
Yeah, you're right.
Anderson, Sunnyside. Look at all of it.
That's right. We ought to be able to do that, no question. Now that's where the sun will. Is that where the sun rises, and then on the other end is where the sun sets, and it'll set about 6:30 tonight, and be a beautiful sunset. Mike, we're talking this morning also about SEC coaches continue to be the nation's richest. Back in 2007, Saban signed an 8-year deal with Alabama for $32 million. Everybody thought that was just highway robbery. How can any football coach be worth $32 million over the next 4 years? Well, I'll tell you how they can. 10 out of the SEC's 14 coaches now make that much or more. And Saban tops the list at $9.1 million a year. LSU's Ed Orgeron is second with $8,687,000 a year. I bet a lot of those LSU folks wish he didn't have that kind of salary.
Well, somebody was comparing him to Coach Chiswick. Is he going to be a one-hit wonder with the national championship and then the program fall off the cliff? It looks like it could this year.
Texas A&M's Jimbo Fisher makes $7.5 million. Over, I think, that 8-year period. I don't know exactly how that works. Auburn's Gus Malzahn makes $6.9 million. Georgia's Kirby Smart makes $6.8 million. They are 5th, 6th, and 7th in the country, respectively. All of them are behind. Dabo Swinney, who's in 3rd, and Jim Harbaugh, who is 4th. Dan Mullen, Mike, of Florida, makes $6.7 million, makes him one of just 11 coaches to make at least $6 million this year. So, if you want,
I consider Mullen and Malzahn pretty similar, except Malzahn's beaten Alabama a lot more. Mullen never beat Alabama at Mississippi State, but I would compare them as pretty similar coaches.
Yeah. Now, Dabo Swinney evidently makes the most. What are they paying Dabo?
$9 million, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Of course, Mike Leach, these are poor coaches here, Mike Leach and Eli Drinkwitz, the new coaches at Mississippi State and Missouri. They're being paid $4 million a year, bless their hearts. Just $4 million to coach at Ole Miss and
Well, let's say this right now, that all of those huge salaries, don't you think they're getting ready to come to a screeching halt?
Yeah.
With the finances and economic hardships of these athletic departments, they're all getting ready to get a haircut. these big capital campaigns where they make these Taj Mahal facilities, it's over.
Excuse me, Leach makes $5 million a year. Bless his heart. And
he makes $5 million a year, and his offense scored 2 points last week.
Excuse me.
You know what it makes me wish I would have gone into coaching. I mean, if I could have just made it to an offensive coordinator, I'd be a millionaire.
No question about it. Now,
we had Frank Sadler, Dad's old coach, on the show, and of course he coached in high school and he coached in college for several years. And we had Coach Sadler on a lot on the show, and I said, Coach, what was the most you ever made as an offense coordinator at South Carolina? And he said, $66,000 a year.
Yeah, that was good money back then. Let me tell you.
I'm just saying, compared to what Steve Sarkisian makes over $2 million right now as offense coordinator.
Jeremy Pruitt makes $3.8 million in his third season at Tennessee. Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin is just below Drinkwitz. Can you believe they pay this Drinkwitz guy more than they pay Pruitt and Kiffin?
Mm-hmm.
They pay him, talking about Kiffin gets $3.9 million. So
I want to go back to the how Saban and Byrne got it. You know, they are real diligent about wearing the mask. Every time you see them, they've got on the mask.
Oh yeah,
and especially Byrne. I mean, he scolded the student body, and he is really a zealot about wearing the mask. I've seen interviews with him. He gave a tour of the new stadium improvements, and he had like on the double mask. So it's just, and they have all these protocols and social distancing, and it just makes me wonder how, like you said, how did they get it?
I wonder who would take Byrne's place right now with the great Finest Gaston, a good friend of mine, after 35 years of service.
Was Byrne leaving? Is he leaving?
Well, no, I'm just saying Burns can't serve as AD right now. He's got COVID.
Oh, he's got it too.
He's asymptomatic as well, so he can. I think these people are just going to continue to work. They'll just work like 50% of the population in America now. They'll just work from home.
Yeah.
Don't you think Saban, since he's asymptomatic, I mean, don't you think there's a way that they could put him in a box at that game in Bryant-Denny Stadium, isolated?
No, they won't.
Get him in there somehow before the game and get him in there after the game, and he would at least be able to be there.
That would be politically incorrect to allow him to do that. But now he seems to be making references that he can watch the game on TV and Zoom and communicate with his coaches from his den couch. Probably will do that.
Talking about more salaries, Orgeron, Fisher, Smart, and Malzahn will make more than Big 12 leader Oklahoma's Lincoln Riley. Poor young Lincoln, and heck, he's not even 35 years old, I don't think, makes $6.5 million, and after taking a $300,000 and $417,000 in pay cuts. So he's making that much after his pay cuts. Arkansas coach Sam Pittman, bless his heart, he enters the SEC making only $3 million, and that was cut from $3.1 million due to the COVID-19
financial
they had to give up that. You're right, and but it's just amazing what they make, and I'm sure there are people out there saying, "Oh, they're worth every bit of it." Listen, let me tell you this: how many times have you heard me say this? And Mike knows where I'm coming from right now. If they put a what do you call it, a level of how much you can make as being a head football coach at an SEC school, if they made it a
cap on it?
Yeah, put a cap on it. And all coaches in the SEC could make $200,000 a year. Head coaches could make $200,000 a year. They would be lined up across the street, 100 strong, waiting to sign the papers on $200,000 a year.
That's right.
I mean, what? I mean,
where else
to
could
be
they make?
a
Where else
football
could they
coach,
make $200,000?
to be a football coach and make $200,000 a year.
Most CEOs,
pretty good job.
Medium-sized businesses, do not make $200,000.
But what I'm saying, I know that's silly. I know that's.
You got at least 10 high school football coaches in Alabama that make over $125,000.
Yeah, one of them's at Hoover, and one of them's at Phoenix City, and let's see, one of them's at Enterprise. I imagine Enterprise is one of them.
Did y'all watch the game on ESPN2 between Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia, Friday night?
No, but tell me who won that game.
Jamie DeBose was going against, oh God, what's his name?
Probst, yeah.
That's it. Jamie DeBose, who was at Phoenix City, and then Probst from Hoover. When I quit watching, Lowndes County was up 19-0. But the thing that struck you is that is a beautiful stadium, and it looked about 75% full. I mean, it looked like a college game.
Who coaches at Lowndes? Is that Probst?
No, that's Jamie DeBose.
Jamie DeBose.
He got his Alabama retirement and then went over to Georgia and got a pay raise.
Yeah. Of course, Probst has won everywhere he's gone.
And he has a quarterback that we're going to be hearing from. He's only a junior, a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
It is a man.
He's better than Tucker Kilcrease of Brantley.
I haven't seen Tucker, but I've heard.
I can't wait to see Tucker Kilcrease line up those Brantley Bulldogs against Charles Henderson the last. I think that I want to say it's Halloween weekend, isn't it? It's the last regular season game of the year.
I want to tell you a story about high school quarterbacks. I think this quarterback for Georgia is good. The former walk-on that's leading them. But I read a good story on him in ESPN. He was undersized, and so he had hardly any Division I scholarships. He loved Georgia and was a preferred walk-on at Georgia. You know how he got to Georgia? One player that had already committed to Georgia was talking to Kirby Smart, and there was some hotshot quarterback in Georgia that was one of the national top players in the country, allegedly. And this prospect told Kirby Smart, that guy might be the #1 quarterback in America, but I guarantee you he's the #2 quarterback in 3A football in Georgia. The #1 quarterback is this Bennett, the 4th kid. So, I mean, it's amazing how some of these really good quarterbacks can be overlooked. And then he was way down the depth chart, wasn't really getting a good look. Said, the heck with this, went to a junior college, played 1 year, had a great year. And then they asked him, hey, would you come back to Georgia? And he said, yes, I'll come back, but if you give me a scholarship and a real chance to compete for the starting job. And so far, the rest is history.
Yeah.
You know, he runs the ball pretty well. I've watched him. You know, he's definitely a lot stronger out of the pocket than I thought he would be.
Yeah, that story, Michael, it said that
Alabama's going to watch him. You know, as far as the zone reads and stuff like that. Yeah, I was looking at an article the other day, and they compared this Georgia team to a lot of the great Alabama teams because of the great defense. And the fact they have a game manager like a McElroy or a McCarron or a Jake Coker at quarterback, and Alabama's the total opposite. You know, Alabama is a team that scores at will but has no defense. It's kind of everything that Nick Saban didn't want to be, originally.
Well, let me just say this: we're going to see a much better Alabama team this week because they're not going. Georgia's not going to run it fast like Ole Miss did. Ole Miss ran that offense as fast as anybody I've ever seen it, other than maybe Georgia State.
Malzahn and the best era of Auburn. They were when they were almost won the national championship a couple of years ago against Florida State. They at times would be super fast.
And listen to this. Now, I've been right about most of these things. I told people last week that the reason Ole Miss won't beat Alabama was that Alabama's going to score every time they get it, and because their offense was that much better than Ole Miss's defense, and sure enough, that's what happened. Alabama ends up winning by 15 points. But also, what's going to happen this week is with Georgia, Alabama's probably going to try to keep from substituting so that Georgia can't bring those guys in every third down and get a breather. Even this so-called great Georgia defense up front's going to get tired if you don't substitute. You know what I mean?
I think that's the key to the game is who can establish the running game. Can Alabama's offensive line, which I think is pretty good, block that defensive line of Georgia, which is great. Getting back to Georgia's quarterback, though, Michael, you talk about how he can run the ball. Several people in that article I read, that's what they commented on, said he is really fast and quick, and he ran for a lot of yards in high school. So that, as an Alabama fan, that kind of makes me worried because quarterbacks that can run have hurt Alabama in big games.
Well, let me just say this.
Dad, I talked about this game yesterday. It looks like we got another powerhouse in the Sun Belt Conference that Troy's going to have to play in a few weeks. Coastal Carolina goes to Louisiana Lafayette, who was ranked 21st after that big win over Iowa State, and wins 30-27. Great game last night. I don't know if any of you
I watched it.
undefeated.
I saw it. Let me just say this. I saw it until I fell asleep at 8 o'clock. Can you believe that?
I fell asleep and then I woke up and saw the last 6 minutes. And
that quarterback is really, really good. And, I went to that Troy game of 2 years ago, and I could tell then that they were building quite a program. And, they've got a big offensive and defensive line. And, if you can establish that, you got a chance. Look at Georgia. Nobody talked about Georgia having any kind of chance to win a national championship until they got a defense. They got a bunch of guys up front. But hear this. Georgia this weekend will be going against the best balanced football team that the Southeastern Conference has seen in 15 years with this great runner running tandem and this great passing tandem. When you got balance like Alabama's got, you're not going to beat them. You got to shut one of them down, and I don't know if they'll be able to shut one of them down. What do you think?
I hope you're right.
If they do anything, they might.
The flip side of that is, great defense usually beats great offense.
Hadn't Alabama been this team the last 3 years?
Well, I don't know. They've been pretty good on offense, and they weren't as good on defense, I don't think, last couple of years. Offensively, they are. You know something I said?
I think the offense is the same.
I'm not trying to be a know-it-all on this TV, but I'll tell you something else I told you about. Do you remember when we were talking about what makes BYU so good? Was every pass they threw was play action. Well, that's exactly when you build a running attack like Alabama's, and you got a great runner, number 22 at Alabama, Najee Harris, and you got a great quarterback, and I'm about ready to call him great, in Jones, who's going to throw the ball play action almost every time. It'll be very rarely he'll just drop back and throw it. He'll play action because that keeps the linebackers in having to play the run. And now everybody said, well, they'll try to get 8 in the box, and try to stop the run first and all that. But Alabama's too good to stop the run. So I'm thinking that the play action is going to keep the linebackers in, and then to be able to have the ability to throw deep is going to keep the safeties and the corners back. So underneath should be wide open.
Jones has had real good protection this year. He's not been pressured much, and I just think Georgia has a much better pass rush. So let's see how Jones does if he does get sacked and hurried a couple of times.
Yeah, Mike, I tell you, Michael told me all along that he thought Jones was going to be good and really good, and I should have looked at it. He came out of one of the greatest high school football programs in the country for the last 20 years, Bowles High School in Jacksonville. Wouldn't you say it was at least the top 5 program in the country every year, Bowles Academy there in Jacksonville?
Well, it's well known.
Well, it's a private school but by him playing and then he came out of a 4-star, or was he a 5-star? He was just a 4-star. Yeah. A 4-star out of Bowles High School is a pretty good football player, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and he came to Alabama after Tua Tagovailoa had announced that he was going to come, which shows he was confident.
And you look at him on the sidelines, he's just genuine. You can just tell he's as genuine as you can be. He looks like my buddy in right.
Alabama against Ole Miss was the worst I've seen in Saban era.
I mean, Alabama.
Well, back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wearing Carolina blue this morning. Mike Amos is with us, ladies and gentlemen, on Zoom time from West Panama City Beach with the ocean at his back. And it's beautiful down there. The sun is just coming up. And I've got Bill Rice Jr. Well, I was reading in the paper today, Mike, 67 former Alabama foot players are playing right now in an NFL, on a NFL team. 67.
And they had at least probably 8 guys opt out and didn't play this season due to the coronavirus.
Yeah. All right. Make a comment on somebody like everybody thought.
Hightower's not playing. C.J. Mosley's not playing.
Did Mosley opt out? Did Mosley opt out? Why did he do that?
I don't know.
Well, he just didn't want to play. Andre Smith opted out. I'm off Zoom for some reason.
All right, keep me up on these guys if you can identify them. Of course, T.J. Yeldon, people remember him a few years back. He rushed 57 yards this week.
He had 55 yards the other night.
Yeah, he's with Buffalo. Mac Wilson is with Cleveland, the linebacker, made 2 tackles. Jedrick
Carver, Montgomery.
I thought he got hurt, so I'm glad to hear he's back.
Jedrick Willis Jr. of the Cleveland Browns is playing for the Browns. Quinton Williams is playing with the Jets, made 3 tackles. Jonah Williams plays with Cincinnati offensive lineman, started against Baltimore. DeAndre White of the Boston Ravens is a receiver. Levi Wallace of the Buffalo Bills is a cornerback, plays for Tennessee. Tennessee might win it all, man. Now, I haven't seen that stiff arm yet, but they said it was the most vicious lick that they had seen in a long time. Did you see it?
Yeah, he threw him to the ground. I mean, it was just.
Did he slam him to the ground or did he throw him to the ground?
He just went like this. Pushed him into the sidelines.
Yeah. Okay, Levi Wallace plays for Buffalo, cornerback. Dalvin Tomlinson plays with the Giants, defensive lineman. Deontay Thompson plays for Arizona. Tua Tagovailoa plays with
Tumbavaloa. You don't know that by now?
Plays with Miami. And now let me tell you something that a lot of people don't realize. In the first 3 games that Jones has started, compared to Tua, Jones has outproduced Tua. In fact, his completion percentage rate is right at 80%. Isn't that phenomenal? 80% of his passes that he's completed. His completion, his total passing yards already in just 3 games at 1,101. So that'll tell you a little bit about him right there. And then, of course, the Heisman Trophy, Jones, that 80% just stands out more than anything. And he 16 yards per attempt, and that is true. He throws the ball downfield as much as any quarterback I've ever seen. Now, that's what Georgia will try to do is they want to stop the run, but they also want to back their safeties up so that so Alabama won't be throwing it deep so much. You notice Ole Miss did that. They kept them from throwing it deep. You remember that?
Yep.
And that was one of their strategies, keep Alabama from throwing deep, and then also keeping the ball away from them. The time, what if Alabama would have had the time that Ole Miss had with the football? What was it, 70%? 70
time of possession.
Time of possession.
Ole Miss ran 86 offensive plays in the game.
Yeah, it was something like 70% of the time.
That
Ole
game
Miss
was
had
decided. Ole Miss botched the snap, which cost them a touchdown. They were going in. Alabama probably won. Remember, they had one drive that was stopped, but they called pass interference on Ole Miss. That kept the drive going for
a well-known Ole Miss coach, or actually a supporter, said he had never seen Ole Miss's quarterback play that good. he said he didn't think he had it in him, so they said he looked like a different player.
You know, I watched a preseason show last year that showed practice footage of that quarterback throwing the ball, and I said, boy, that guy really spins the ball good. Corrales or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And so I think I even said, this guy's gonna Ole Miss could be fine at quarterback. Yeah. Well, he eventually got beat out by the good running freshman. And so I said, well, I was wrong on him, but maybe I wasn't wrong because he can throw it pretty good.
Of course, we're talking.
What if Mac Jones, gets hit, gets injured, and they bring in Bryce Young? Do you give Alabama any chance, Bill?
I don't know. He hadn't had much training, though, has he?
Probably not. But I think Bryce Young's going to be really good.
Let me tell you this, Bryce Young.
Don't you think Kirby will do all they can to knock Mac Jones out of that?
Bryce Jones will be out of here come whenever he's eligible to leave. He's out of Alabama. He's gone.
No, I'm talking about just trying to knock him out of the game.
Oh, I know, but don't you think he will not be at Alabama next year?
Well, I mean, he's just a redshirt junior, so he has another year if he wants to play.
No, we're talking about the quarterback. He's not a redshirt junior.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
He's been there that long and not played?
He was a backup last year.
Dad, you had Jalen Hurts and you had Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, I'm not talking about Jones. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about Jones. I'm talking about the backup, the guy from Bryce Young. That's what I'm talking about.
Young's a freshman.
All right, he's out of here.
Mac Jones could stay 2 more years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mac Jones.
Everybody gets another year.
He's not going to beat Mac Jones out, so he's out of here. He'll be at Southern Cal this time next year.
If Mac Jones keeps doing like he's doing and having a Joe Burrow type year, Mac Jones is going to get a chance to play in the NFL.
Oh yeah, I mean this guy.
And he's super. He's like Greg McElroy. He's very smart.
Yeah.
He graduated in 3 years, so he must be getting his second master's by now. But if he plays next year, he'll be going for a doctorate.
This guy is better than McElroy. He's better than, in fact, he's the best quarterback they've had in a long time. This guy is good, except for Tua.
He's no Tua, but I mean, he's definitely comparable to A.J. McCarron, who I thought was a great quarterback. But he's got to win a lot of big games. McCarron.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a personal question. Who is most popular, McCarron or his girlfriend?
Probably both.
Is his girlfriend still in the movies?
Well, you know, Brent Musburger.
I know.
Calling her out in the middle of the game. She's got all these Hollywood deals and became a model and all kinds of stuff.
Y'all know what
I loved it. Yeah, I love that line. I can recite it for you. He says, "Ooh, kids in Alabama, get out in the backyard with pops and throw the football." After they showed a close-up of McCarron's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he went whoa or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Musburger grew on me. I liked him.
Musburger works for some outfit out of Las Vegas now.
Yeah, he's a big gambler.
Yeah, he's big in that gambling,
Yeah, he's got a lot of shows out there, actually.
Yeah. He's done a lot. Musburger was very popular, and then, of course, we go back with a great one, and, the great one that says, they're starting to dance in the street of Oap and in East Boga, where they got the best chicken fried steak I've ever eaten. Who said that?
Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson.
Did Keith Jackson pass away, or is he still living?
Yeah, he passed away.
He passed away.
But he was a great boy. He loved Alabama and Auburn. I can tell you that.
He was him and Frank Broyles were the best team.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were great. They were great, and of course, hey Nelly, that's what he said. It was in the.
Whoa Nelly.
Whoa Nelly. All right. Well, this game was the game in New Orleans when, when
Dad's getting sick.
No, I'm just clearing my throat. but of course, the head football coach was, for that game was.
I don't know what game you're talking about.
Oh gosh, we're talking about in New Orleans with
Joe Paterno and Penn State.
No.
You're talking about Lou Holtz.
Well, let me just say this: everybody's got it except you two. We're talking about the head football coach when Alabama beat Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Gene Stallings. They have trouble sometimes with Gene Stallings. I don't know why. But Gene Stallings, nobody gave Alabama a chance. Of course, the quarterback for Miami had just won the Heisman Trophy.
You know who gave them a chance? I did a story. I was working for the Troy Progress for Don Herring and did a preview story of that game. And I interviewed a lot of football fans about what they thought was going to happen, and most said, Alabama's going to lose. But Danny Lee, your friend.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
He confidently said, just like Joe Namath said, Alabama's going to win this game. There's no doubt about it. They're better.
They did it with a little running back out of New York City. His name was Lassick. Was a great.
He wasn't little.
Well,
only got little on that team was David Palmer.
Well, he was a great running back, and of course, as that game went down to the final seconds, he said, "Whoa, Nelly! They're starting to dance in the streets of Old Op and in East Boga, where they got the best chicken fried steak I've ever eaten. We'll see you again." That was it. That's what he said.
I can't believe I didn't go to that game. I remember being with some friends in that game and being so upset.
Yeah.
That we didn't get tickets to that game. I went to the national championship game in 2011 in the Superdome.
All right, now let me tell you what Easter Boga was famous for. Y'all know what Easter Boga, what he was talking about?
You know, I don't think I'd ever.
The races were there in Easter Boga, Talladega, Easter Boga, and he covered the races one time. And they had these boarding houses. You know, people just open up the boarding houses because there's so many people, 150,000 people in the stands, another 50,000 in the parking lots. So there are 200,000 people. They got to feed them some way. So these people would open up their houses, and it was some people that opened up their houses, and they served chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes and gravy, and he went crazy. He said, "That's the best chicken fried steak I've ever eaten."
So that's the backstory on that reference. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and of course, Easter Boga, you know, is not known for anything until the races come.
Today they would fine and arrest those people for serving food without a license, probably.
Yeah. I don't know if they still do it or not, but in racing, you know, they've got that big turn, that 80 degree turn. Is that what it is? It's something like that.
It's like a 20-degree angle.
And they used to let you do it, and you had to pay for it. It's just the way they made money when they weren't racing. They used to pay people and they could drive around that curve.
Have you done it?
And see if you drove it under a certain miles per hour, you would actually start sliding off the track.
I've done it. Have you done it?
No, have you? Tell me about it.
Sometimes.
Well, what is 60 or 80 degrees?
I was going somewhere and I was close to Talladega, and I said, "Dang it, I had time." I said, "I'm just going to go over there to the racetrack," and they have a museum too, a stock car museum. And I found out that I didn't know it, that you can pay and they'll give you a ride around the track in some van. But yes, you got to get up to a certain speed, and that banking is, I don't know what the degree. It's 23, 20. It's like a cliff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, you've got to be going a certain amount of speed, or you would slide off there.
I recommend, if you ever are over there, do it. It's fun.
But now, did they let you drive, or
no? There was a driver, and there were about 10 of us in the van.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
And then I took the tour of the museum. That's the only time I've been to the Talladega racetrack. I've never been to a race.
Of course, this show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. And we appreciate Jason Gregory and all the great people. They're selling cars like never before right now. I mean, the car business is red hot. That means our economy is getting better and better and better. I've never seen so many cars in one spot on the bypass there at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and then also on down the road, you know, right next door to it is Bill Jackson Ford. Two great dealerships side by side. And of course,
you didn't have a lot of drama last night in baseball. The Braves only got 11-0 in the first inning.
And it was over. Don't you know that was a boring place to be after? I was saying, how can anybody sit there and watch it if your team's 10 down? But the night before now, the Dodgers came back on them.
Yeah, this series isn't over by a long shot.
I mean, it's just 15-3 was the final.
Well, guess who hasn't pitched yet for Los Angeles? Kershaw Manufacturing Company is going to pitch tonight. Brought to you by Kershaw Manufacturing Company of Montgomery, Alabama. Kershaw is going to pitch for the L.A. Dodgers.
So that's not good for the Braves.
And I you know what? I've got an L.A. Dodger hat. I've got gosh, what is the other one? I've got the Dodgers. I've got the Giants. I've got the Red Sox. I've got the Yankees. All hats. I've got.
I used to have a New York Yankees hat.
Let's see. I've got a Oakland hat. I got an Oakland hat. You know, can you remember at one time Oakland just dominated everything? You know.
Them and the Big Red Machine. But you know, we haven't talked enough about the passing of Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
I've read some tributes to him, and boy, Johnny Bench had some really nice words to say about. But it made me think about how great those Cincinnati Red teams of the early and mid '70s were.
You know, or as you look at Perez, you know, a great player, first baseman. You know, Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench.
Dave Concepcion
Concepcion.
Foster, the
Foster, the great outfielder. God, this was unfair that they played against folks.
You had the great Ken Griffey Sr., Tony Perez.
Yeah, Griffey. Yeah, Tony. I've already mentioned Perez.
We named almost the whole lineup.
Who was their pitching staff?
You had what's his name?
It's Bench. I mentioned Bench, I reckon.
Don Gullett?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Gullett played on that team, didn't he? Don Gullett?
Yeah.
But Joe Morgan, I never knew how short Joe Morgan was. I said he was only 5'7".
Yeah.
But he hit a lot of home runs. He stole a lot of bases, hit for average.
They say he was the most intellectual player on the field.
You could hear him when he was an announcer. He was a great announcer. He knew
very intellectual.
He knew baseball inside and out. And they said he had the smallest glove anybody had ever seen. That's to get the ball out quick on double play.
But just look at all those egos on that team too, with Beach and Perez and all those guys. There's another one out there.
We got news for the weekend for Nick Saban. It doesn't look like it's good news. The NCAA rules banned coaching from home for COVID-isolated coaches like Saban. So, speaking to reporters, Zelensky, even Nick Saban said they are still researching the rules on coaching a game after testing positive for COVID-19. It turns out they aren't favorable for someone hoping to coach a team remotely, with number 3 Georgia visiting Alabama on Saturday. While he could handle practice duties from home on Zoom on Wednesday, the NCAA rules and interpretations prohibit remote coaching on game day. So that means it's very specific and allows only voice communication between the press box and the team area. Therefore, a coach cannot call into the press box or the sideline for anything related to coaching purposes, according to the NCAA rules. So that means that
he's out of there.
Will not be coaching at all.
I think that's actually a plus, because he was just getting ready to be a huge distraction. I would hate to be Sarkisian or somebody and then having the phone, Nick Saban calling every 5 minutes.
Well, the key to everything, though, and you just said it just a while ago, they're going to test everybody. And I bet if there's more than 10 players, I bet they'll shut it down. What do you think?
Well, if there's 10 players, then you look at it's the contact tracing that gets everybody.
And I've got this gun temperature thing, and it's so easy to get them. Troy ought to gun everybody for their fever. Just check to see if they got a fever. They ought to check every person that comes in the fever. If they've got a fever over 102 or over, they should not let them in the stadium. But it's so easy and so quick, bang, and within seconds.
My wife does that every day at Charles Simpson High School. She's the temperature girl in the 200 building.
Yeah.
She zaps everybody.
Is she finding any?
No. I mean, I think 1 or 2. It's 99 degrees or something.
Well,
the only coach that's dealt with us is Mike Norvell, the Florida State coach, and that was before the Miami game, where Florida State got beat 50-10. So do you think Alabama's going to get beat 52-10?
No, I don't think so.
I've always thought that if this streak ends, typically here's what happens. You remember when Alabama beat Florida and Tebow the second time? When you win a breakthrough game and break a streak, or even when Shula beat Tennessee, you usually blow them out. I mean, the dam burst. And so it would not surprise me if Georgia not only won, but won big.
Let me tell you something.
Georgia is definitely due for a win against Alabama.
Yeah, I mean,
Alabama's had a lot of breaks in these games, to say the least.
I can see them pouring it on if they get the chance. And plus, the crowd is not going to be a factor. I mean, with 19,000 fans,
Alabama really screwed things up when they went 20%. They could have done, easily had 25% and had 25,000 fans. I mean, I don't understand their thinking when it came to that.
They're all just going groupthink and trying to be as diligent as possible with COVID. But yeah, they could have added 10,000 more fans, and everybody would still have plenty of room to social distance.
Of course, we also...
that is a huge stadium.
Yeah. If you looked at the upper deck in that first game, I mean, the lower decks looked okay, but the upper deck, it looked, you'd have one person on every row of bleachers, and then you'd have, you might have had in the whole section, you might have had like 10 people sitting in there.
I mean, how can you say this is Saban's loss if he's not even going to be in the stadium, though? I mean, wouldn't this be a Sarkisian loss?
Yeah, I would think it wouldn't be a Saban loss. So you wouldn't think, would you? Well, of course,
he's the head coach, but I mean, I don't know how this will be interpreted.
Well, there's in every game there's 4 or 5 big decisions the head coach has to make, and Saban won't be making them. Whether to go for it or not go for it, or that type of thing.
And after this severe testing that they're going to be doing the next few days, of course, LSU and Florida are not going to play. They're postponed, and thank goodness they had an opportunity to reschedule.
Vanderbilt, Missouri are playing on the 12th of December, just like LSU and Florida.
Yeah. Now, the championship game in the SEC is what's on the 19th?
Yeah.
Okay. We were reading, and ladies and gentlemen, and of course, this was very to read where Alabama has 67 players playing in the pros right now. To tell you something as impressive about that is that Auburn has 30. They have 30 players that are playing in the NFL from Auburn, and we're going to mention them in a few moments, but I wanted to continue to mention these guys.
I wonder how many Troy has playing now.
I don't know. I don't think
about
it's very. I don't think it's very many.
Troy's only got about four or five right now. But, probably the lowest they've ever been.
But at one time they had as many as 10. But
let me check the line on the Alabama Georgia game to see if the Saban factor.
Yeah, let's do.
The site I checked, they've taken it off the board.
Have they?
Well,
Okay.
some sites might have. I also read it had gone from 6 to 4.
Alabama's down to 4 now on scoresandodds.com.
Yeah.
So they're saying
This
Saban's working.
game's almost going to be a pick 'em. If it gets down to 3, that's pretty much just favored. A home team on the road is usually a 3-point favorite. They consider that out in Vegas.
This is going to be a logistics nightmare. You know what's going to happen? They said they can have only a certain amount of people go to the games. Only a certain amount of people can tailgate, or if any. All right. Those that won't tailgate, there'll have to be a perimeter set up somewhere. People are going to go to that perimeter. They're going to set up screens, TV screens. They're going to set up food deals. They're going to have a circus, and it's going to be a logistics nightmare. Be thousands and thousands of people coming to the game that will not be able to go to the game, but they will be tailgating outside the perimeter. Wouldn't you think?
No, I think that they've all got the message that you're not welcome. They are going to have those perimeters. They'll be hassled. They're going to want to watch the game somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to watch the game outside the perimeter. I mean, I know inside the perimeter they can't do it.
8 blocks from the stadium and find some little TV in a parking lot of a Publix to watch the game.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would think it'd be a giant. I would think it'd be a giant party somewhere.
They'll make the some going to bars, but
Athens, Georgia has more bars and more restaurants than any college town. One of the greatest college towns I've ever been to.
I know it is something.
I think if I was a Georgia fan, I'd just stay there and celebrate there.
But I tell you what, though, listen, don't you know that it'll be a lot of people just want to be around it, especially Georgia people, who think they're going to win. Hype, how you spell that? H-Y-P-E, is that how you spell hype?
That's right.
The hype it's going to be like Clemson and Miami, all that hype. Oh, Miami's going to beat Clemson. It wasn't even close from the get-go.
No,
Alabama's going to be the same way.
Nobody thinks this. I mean, Bill mentioned it might be a blowout, but I still see this being a really close game. I do think I am leaning towards Georgia right now, though.
I think it'll be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised, or it wouldn't stun me if it turns out to be a blowout for Georgia's favor. It'd stun me if Alabama blows them out as good as their defense is.
All right, let's ask.
I don't think this quarterback's good enough for Georgia.
I don't either.
I think it's good enough to beat Alabama, but I don't think it's good enough to blow them out.
I also think this quarterback is...
If they had Justin Fields, I would definitely say this could be a blowout.
This quarterback is a gamer. He's cerebral. He's very smart. He's older. He's not a young kid. I mean, he's about a redshirt junior, too.
All right. The only thing that Georgia is better than Alabama right now is total defense. You can say defense, total defense. Other than that, Alabama dominates.
You know what? This quarterback is going to get some confidence because Alabama's defense is porous. I mean, he's going to be able to run the ball when he scrambles. He's going to have open receivers. I mean, that's just a given with this defense. Yeah. Michael mentioned that Alabama's starting safeties out for the first half. So with a young quarterback, you want to get off to a quick start and have some positive plays.
You mean Surtain? Who's out for Mike?
Battle, Alabama's first.
Battle, okay, yeah.
And then the other starting safety is Wright that got benched in the second half against Ole Miss. He's awful. I mean, I guess he's not watching. I can say that.
I mean, he did have the pick six against A&M for a touchdown. Yeah. I can't say he's awful.
Mike, look.
Remember that? He was also the guy that just kind of lackadaisically tried to push that guy out of bounds. Yeah. And the Texas A&M guy ran for a touchdown. That's the same player.
The kicking game favors Georgia. So special teams. This game could come down to a kick. Alabama's guys still only kicked one field goal all year. I'll say this. Georgia's got a really good offensive line. Yeah. I don't know if they're as good as Alabama, but they do have a really good offensive line.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little thing that people don't think about very much. I want to ask you a question. What team leads the nation in three and outs?
Georgia.
No, it's Alabama. Alabama offense has been 3 and out only 3 times this year.
I thought about defense.
Now, how impressive is that? That means only 3 times that they actually went 3 downs and had to punt. 3 times, and they lead the nation.
You know, against Ole Miss, Mac Jones referenced this in his press conference. There was a ton of pressure on that offense. As he said, they had to be perfect. It was like a tennis match, where you know it's going to go 6-6 in the tiebreak. If that one person can break the serve of the other person, you've won. Yeah. And so the equivalent of breaking the serve is getting them off the field without scoring. And Alabama could not afford to have that happen, and it didn't happen. It was amazing.
Alabama's receivers and tight ends and everybody are going to release downfield, and that means the safeties and the corners pretty much have to back up. Then here comes Harris, bang bang. Here comes Harris, bang bang. We can't stop the run. Let's bring those linebackers and those safeties, those corners back in here. Oh gosh, they're throwing deep on us now. They're throwing deep on us. They're throwing missiles at us. They're throwing deep. Alabama will win the football game by 2 touchdowns.
All right, there you go.
Watch it. Man. Alabama's defense will be good enough to stop Georgia. Georgia will not be able to stop the balanced attack of the University of Alabama. And whether or not this is good or not, Big Al will be jumping up and down and doing backward flips as the Crimson Tide of Alabama are getting ready to beat Georgia. The Crimson Tide of Alabama going head-to-head with the Georgia Bulldogs this Saturday afternoon from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It is a 7 o'clock Central Time start. Alabama and Georgia, don't miss it.
Let's take a break.
That's what we're going to do. We'll be back to more of Today in L.A. That's Low Alabama.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Let's rock! It's Rocktober at Premier. Rock out in a new Ram with rock bottom prices. Save up to $17,777 on new Ram Crew Cab. New Jeep Renegade start at $17,988. Shop us now. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody. Napa know-how.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa know-how. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa know-how team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Know-how. Napa know-how.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
We're back.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy, where they're dealing like you won't believe. Probably the biggest sales event of the year is going on right now at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. I drive a Ram truck, and I love it. I'll have 2 or 3 people almost every day said, I like that truck. And it's black, and it's beautiful, and it drives like a charm. It's got more gadgets on it. Hey, it has stopped my vehicle 2 or 3 times since I've had it. It has stopped my vehicle so I wouldn't run into somebody.
I talked to somebody at a soccer game, some man I didn't know, and he said I overheard him. He told me he had a wreck and totaled his truck, and he was fine. And then he said, but he went in a couple of days and got him another one because he really liked it. It was a great truck. And I said, well, what type of truck was it? He said it was a Dodge Ram.
Well, and another thing, you know, anything that's going in on your side, anything in front of you, these buzzers go off. It's got more gadgets to it, and they're gadgets that will save your life.
They're called sensors.
And, you know, of course, a lot of people might have the sensors, but like on the bright lights, you know, how many times do you worry about, you know, dimming your lights? Well, it dims it for you.
Oh, wow.
It automatically dims your lights, and it'll dim your light, and then after that car goes by, the lights will go back on.
I like the little camera that you get when you back up now.
Oh, yeah.
That's helpful.
The cameras are real accurate, no question about it. We're having a good time this morning, and of course...
When I'm on the interstate, I always put my car in cruise control and take little naps.
Yeah, do you now? You know, I've never been big on cruise controls because I want to be I want to be in control.
I love cruise control on the interstate.
Well, maybe on the interstate, but not on 231. You're exactly right. The interstate maybe so, but
I use it just so I don't speed. You know, accidentally, and I put it about 9 miles over the speed limit, 8 miles, just assuming that they're not going to get me unless I go more than 10 miles per hour over the speed limit.
Something that is going on this weekend, you know, of course, with the Alabama and Georgia game, everybody's looking at that. Of course, LSU in Florida has been postponed. And, you know, this guy, let me tell you, this guy Mullen's starting to act like he might not have all his marbles, Mike. When he thought he could put 90,000 people in the stands, they're not going to let him do that.
It's not him, it's the governor who wants that to happen. The governor says he wants full stadiums. And, you know, I mean, if you're a coach, wouldn't you love to have that extra advantage to have a full stadium?
Well, let me tell you something else that the Auburn fans are got to be excited about. I've heard this Tank Bigsby is the next thing since the great one.
He's good. He looks good.
Yeah. I think he's the next best running back to be at Auburn since Bo Jackson.
He's off to a good start.
I don't see that. I can see like a Cornell Williams.
They say he can fly, Mike. They say he's another burner. He's a burner, just like the other young men that.
Did you hear Chuck Dunn on our show the other day talking about this Geneva County running back?
Yeah.
He said he had Ruggs type speed. I mean, that is.
And the thing about
track speed.
And the thing about it, he's a big back too.
And he's
big. Yeah.
Yeah, Ruggs had 130 yards receiving in that win against the Chiefs. He had a 71-yard touchdown, and then Jacobs had a couple touchdowns too. The Raiders are exciting to watch. They got 2 great Alabama players on that team.
Well, let me just say this.
I always like those Ruggs.
One of my very best friends called me up this week, just yesterday, and said, Mike, you're out of your tree. And I said, well, I really believe it. I really believe South Carolina will beat Auburn this Saturday afternoon or this Saturday morning. It'll be breakfast at Columbia, South Carolina. What's the name of the South Carolina stadium?
Bryce.
You what now?
William.
Can you believe that guy knows that? Williams Bright. It'll be breakfast at
I would be
Will's.
surprised if he didn't know it.
It'll be breakfast at William Bryce.
Yeah.
At William Bryce Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, when the Auburn Tigers go head-to-head with the South Carolina.
What if instead of it being William Bryce Stadium, it was William Rice Stadium?
The Gamecocks, Mike. And, hey, let me tell you this. This is a South Carolina team that has good players. It's an Auburn team that has been sort of so-so this year. It's a spot where South Carolina really sort of has to win this game to have a good season. The coach's job is on the line. This could be a coach-saving game for what's the guy's name?
Muschamp.
Muschamp. I get Malzahn and Muschamp. It's mixed up a little bit.
Muschamp succeeded Kirby Smart as the safety of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Mike,
Auburn, when they had Muschamp on the staff, and Malzahn was the head coach, they had all these T-shirts that came out called Gus Champ.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Well,
I was so excited about having Muschamp there. That's the only time I've ever been in a game, I think, of all the Amos brothers. Uncle Bill lives in Charleston.
Yeah.
And Uncle Joel and Dad and I went up there on a bus and watched Troy play. And it was Uncle Bill, Uncle Joel, and Dad, and watching Troy, South Carolina.
That's right. South Carolina wars out. Man, they really.
Yeah, Spurrier put 60 on Troy that day.
Sure did. And Troy actually outscored him by 2 or 3 touchdowns in the second half, too. I think it was something like that.
Yeah. I was out there in the cabooses just walking around. I left at halftime walking around.
But let me ask this. You got Malzahn at Auburn and Muschamp at South Carolina, and you got Smart at Georgia. Are all those 3 guys, have they ever been on the same staff together?
Smart and Muschamp, definitely, yeah, Valdosta State.
All right, but now are Smart and Muschamp real good friends, or do you know?
Yeah, they're apparently they came out last week. The Smart, Muschamp, Jeremy Pruitt are on like a group text.
Yeah, all right, those 3 guys. That's right. And you know what they have in common? They were all, well, I don't know, Smart coached in the secondary, but Muschamp and Pruitt were linebackers. Is that right?
No, they're all safeties.
They're all defense coordinators at Alabama.
They were all safeties as players.
Oh, they were all safeties? I thought they were linebackers.
Yeah, Muschamp coached for Saban at LSU.
Yeah.
Did Smart ever coach at LSU?
And so did our guy at A&M.
Jimbo Fish was offense coordinator there.
Jimbo, all right. So Jimbo, Smart, Muschamp, and Malzahn are all good friends. Is that right?
Not Malzahn.
Not Malzahn.
All right, Malzahn's best buddy is our guy up at Liberty. Is that right? Are they big buddies?
Hugh Freeze, yeah.
Hugh Freeze and Muschamp.
Well, they both made the jump from high school to successful college coach.
Yeah.
I talked about that yesterday. That used to be rare. Remember who set that back probably was the quarterback at the coach at Notre Dame, Faust, who was a flop. So after that, people were probably afraid to hire a longtime high school coach. But there have been a lot of them now that were great in high school that have been ultra successful in college too.
Now Kiffin has not. He doesn't have allegiances to any of these coaches, does he?
Yeah, he coached with Pruitt and Smart at Alabama.
Okay, so they've got they were probably all good friends. Is that right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing a tree. We're doing do you reckon they all came in on the boat in South Carolina? Most of the people that I know came off the boat at South Carolina. What do you think?
I have no idea.
I'll say that.
Have you ever done any history? Have you ever looked back at your background at all? And most of the folks that you know around here came off the boats that landed in South Carolina.
Wasn't Rhett Butler? He was a boat runner, gun runner.
Yeah.
From Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, how we got into this subject, I don't know. But you know.
Do we need to be talking anything about Troy and Eastern Kentucky this week?
Well, yes, they do play at 2:30 this Saturday afternoon from Veterans Memorial Stadium. I thought Troy really looked good against Texas State.
I don't think Rhett Butler was from Charlotte. He was from somewhere in South Carolina.
Yeah, you know, Troy's opponent this week is, of course, is Eastern Kentucky, who is a 1AA, a good 1AA program, but it's not going to excite a lot of people, but it will hopefully be another win for Troy.
It'll be a great opportunity to see that offense on display again.
I tell you, I want to publicly apologize not only to Jones, the quarterback at Alabama, but also our guys at Troy. I think Gunner and those guys, Gunner is a lot better than I thought he was, and he proved it this weekend.
Gunner Watson, let's see, here's the Eastern Kentucky schedule so far. They lost to Marshall 59-0. They lost to West Virginia 56-10. They beat the Citadel 37-14.
That's good.
And then they lost to a team called Houston Baptist out of Texas, 33-30.
Yeah. Let me ask you a personal question. Who do you know lost his job because he lost to
Jack Crow?
Jack Crow.
Lost to the Citadel?
Lost to the Citadel and was fired that afternoon after the game. Now, something, I always thought that was something wrong because Jack Crow was, of course, the offensive coordinator at Auburn under Pat Dye for a long time. Won the national championship at Livingston, running a no-huddle, and he's the one that put in the no-huddle.
Won the national championship?
He was the guy that put in the no-huddle wishbone. He had a quarterback named Willie Slater and another quarterback named Clement Spruill that led Livingston, ladies and gentlemen, to a national championship. And your buddy, and who I think is one of the great coaches of all time, fired him after he lost to the Citadel in the opening game of the season.
Frank Broyles.
Frank Broyles. And of course, that was I don't think.
He used to have a radio show in Birmingham. It's pretty good to listen to.
Who, Broyles or
no, Jack Crow.
Yeah, Jack Crow. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a heck of a football coach. And Bud Casey is one of my best friends, the late Bud Casey. He had a lot of respect for Crow, and so did Pat Dye. Mm-hmm. But oh gosh, how many times do you remember Crow being Coach Dye getting on Crow on the sidelines? I mean, it was bad. How bad Coach Dye would be blaming it on his offensive coordinator. But
he probably got on Coach Blakeney too.
But look at that staff though that Dye had. He had Blakeney. He had Jack Crow.
Okay.
He had the great defensive coordinator, Mike, at Auburn, and
Wayne Hall.
Wayne Hall. That right there, let me tell you, everybody says where and what happened to Wayne Hall.
I say that, yeah.
Wayne Hall, I think any Alabama fan or any fan of the SEC would say that Wayne Hall was an excellent defensive coordinator at Auburn. He always had his players ready to play, and they were hard-nosed.
Wasn't he the defensive line coach, too?
Yeah, and when he led...
They had Pat Sullivan and Joe Witt. They had all those guys that have been there for years.
All right. Let's keep. Let's
go ahead and tell us what happened to Wayne Hall. Didn't he go into business?
He went into the construction business.
Yeah, big contractor.
But you know what? I guarantee you he would have been a head coach in the SEC. He was that good a coach. He was a heck of a coach.
Something was behind the scenes happened with him because you're right. He was as a coach. He was really good.
I'm sure that's the story behind it. And of course, he and Coach Dye both. Wayne Hall played at Alabama under Coach Dye when he was a defensive coordinator, or when he was a defensive coach at Alabama, and was very well respected. You're right. Whatever happened to Wayne Hall, and why did he end his career so?
Well, he got a buyout where when he left, they were still paying him for several years. I remember that. So he wasn't hurting for money, and then I guess in that time he used it to start a business that ended up being successful. But he was the defensive line coach, if I remember, and Auburn made its reputation on
they had those
defensive
great ones.
linemen, like
Yeah.
the Rocker brothers, and Altman, and they had a bunch of them.
Dow Altman, you're right, exactly.
And that was the signature of Auburn, was tough, physical defensive linemen.
And Andre Bruce.
And I don't know why and how they do it, but ladies and gentlemen, I would put Auburn's kicking game up as a punter and a field goal kicker. I'd put them up against anybody. I think Auburn's got the best kicking game in the history of college football. I really do.
Well,
have you ever seen Auburn when they didn't have a good field goal kicker?
Yeah, and they went for like 8 years, 10 years without missing an extra point.
Exactly.
They always have a good punter. They always have a great field goal kicker. You're right.
And Alabama, I guarantee you, Alabama's tomorrow when they play, or Saturday when they play Georgia, nobody's going to have any confidence in whether or not that field goal is going to be good. But when Auburn stepped up, it didn't surprise anybody in the stadium that he was going to kick it through there, did it?
Yeah, and it's both of those, what are they, the Andersons, or what's their last names, the kickers? Carlsons.
Yeah, and
both of their parents went to Alabama, were huge Alabama fans.
Yeah, I know it. It was crazy, no question about it. We're having fun this morning.
We ought to ask Steve, like 1 week on Troy Cable, if they play like the best of the Bud and Amos shows. We'll watch that before our show every morning.
Yeah.
Must see TV from like 6 to 7.
Yeah.
To see Bud talking to all the old coaches back in the day. It was fun.
All right, Mike, I don't want you to be looking at a computer now. The PGA Tour right now. Tell me who's won more money than anybody. The top 5 money winners, tell me who they are.
I mean, right now it's going to be DeChambeau and Stuart Sink and Martin Laird.
Can you believe Stuart Sink from Florence, Alabama is the 3rd leading money winner on the tour right now?
Well, the season started over a couple weeks ago.
This is through October the 11th.
Sergio Garcia's won this.
You're exactly right. And, Sergio, a lot of people, thank goodness he did away with it. You remember when he used to do this hump, back and forth. Yeah. I couldn't stand watching him, but I like him now. And, you know what?
It took him forever to take the club back. Yeah.
You know what he and Stuart Sink have in common, Mike, is they always seem to make money. You watch the top 20 or the top 25 golfers each week and look at what kind of money. You'll always see Stuart Sink and Sergio somewhere around the top 25.
Stuart Sink's getting ready to go on the seniors tour, but in this heyday, he was consistent. He didn't win a whole lot, but he was always in the money.
Yeah. All right, now tell me who Hudson Swafford is.
He's the guy out of Georgia. He won the Puerto Rico championship.
And Martin Laird is the 3rd or the 4th money winner.
Yeah, he won in Vegas last week at the Shriners Classic.
And here's the guy that everybody's talking about is Matthew Wolff. Is he going to be the next Tiger Woods?
I don't know. I think he's won once or twice. He's the guy. He's got a real awkward swing. I don't know if you ever watched it. He's got like a hitch in his swing.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, I got a question for you. Masters comes up in about 3 or 4 weeks on CBS TV, of course. What are they going to do on the Saturday rounds of the Masters? Are they going to not have college football? Is the Masters going to preempt college football?
I don't know. I think that would be a good question for Jim Nance. I don't know what they're going to do.
Sunday, I read that the Sunday round, Sunday they got NFL football, which is a huge moneymaker for them. And they said that they are going to move up the start times in the final round so they can hopefully have the round finished by the time the CBS football game comes on at 3 o'clock. But I don't know what they'll do.
They got so many relationships in basketball with TBS and TNT and True TV. It makes you wonder if they'll try to put it on TNT or TBS.
Yeah. Mike, what kind of look do I look like I have today? If I look like somebody, who is it? Can you see me?
Benny Beard?
Benny Beard, yeah. Benny Beard would be one answer. Who would be the other one?
Bob Baffert?
Bob Baffert, you win a cup of coffee from McDonald's today. Yeah, I've got the Bob Baffert look.
You are getting some white hair.
That's with no gel, Mike. That's the way Bob Baffert looks with no gel. Okay, reason
I didn't see that they ran another Triple Crown horse race a couple weekends ago. It was during College Football Saturday, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But I heard that the horse that won the Kentucky Derby lost by a neck to some other horse, so it must have been a thrilling race.
The reason I was talking about golf, out of the 147 best golfers or leading money winners out there, guess who is 146, Mike?
146?
Yeah, the next to the last money winner out of 147, the 146th golfer is Phil Mickelson with $22,000.
Mickelson's playing his second senior tour event this weekend.
And you know who's breaking my heart is Bubba. Bubba now is ranked 112. He's won $75,000. I reckon over a 3-month period, that's not bad money to take home, but of course they're all millionaires. But
the Atlanta Falcons have now closed their facility after 4 positive tests, so now the Falcons are having COVID issues.
Oh boy! See, it's going to open up a can of worms. It's going to open up a can of worms.
They fired their coach and their GM, and then former 49ers great Hall of Famer Fred Dean died at 68. You remember Fred Dean?
And he played with who?
San Francisco 49ers.
All right. Did he play with Y.A. Tittle?
No, he was way before.
He was only 68.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have played with Y.A. Tittle.
People passing away. It's not just Joe Morgan, baseball great, that's passed away. We've had a slew of them lately. You've had, I think, Lou Brock, Drysdale Wright. Tom Seaver, Joe Morgan.
That's right.
There's a couple other.
Whitey Ford died.
Yeah, and in the last couple of months, we've had a lot of Hall of Fame baseball players die.
You had Gale Sayers died.
Yeah, that's right. Mike,
if you want to watch baseball tonight, we don't talk about it much, but Tampa Bay and the Astros will play at 4 o'clock on CBS. The Rays lead that series 3-1. So keep in mind, a lot of these Rays guys played in Montgomery for the Biscuits. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Montgomery pulling for Tampa Bay. And then tonight, you'll have the Braves on Fox playing the Dodgers. The Braves lead the series 2-1. That game will be at 7 o'clock tonight on Fox.
Yeah. I want to mention Charles Henderson of Troy and Carroll High will be our game of the week right here on Troy Cable live from Matthews Stadium in Ozark. It's Charles Henderson High School of Troy against the Carroll High School Eagles. Should be a good football game, and you can watch it at 7 o'clock this Friday night on Troy Cable.
A great win for Charles Henderson. They need to try to finish strong. A lot of your memories will be about how you finished the season. When I was a senior, Mike, we had a heartbreaking season. Lost a lot of games that were fluke games that we should have won. So we were actually 3-5 going into our last 2 games, which were against Brundage and Auburn High School, and we walloped both of those teams. One going away, so we ended up on a positive, feel-good note. You know?
Yeah. Pike County is playing at Childersburg.
Yeah, blew them out.
Yeah, Pike County is playing at Childersburg Friday night. Elba is playing at Arrington. That'd be a good game. Take a look at it. And, of course, Cottonwood playing at Zion Chapel. They're still playing all those games at Bates Stadium in Enterprise. But, of course, we've got several good high schools playing this weekend, and we'll be bringing you tomorrow right here on this show predictions on high school and college football, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy.
How about in Troy on Saturday? Temperature 73 is a high, low 53. For college football.
Yeah, let me ask you this: Troy's game last week with Georgia State. Did you watch it on TV?
I watched it on ESPN3 against Texas Oak.
Yeah, was the coverage pretty good?
No, the announcers were really bad, and the camera work was not great. I think they had issues with the weather at first.
Yeah.
But it got a little bit better, but it's definitely not like an ESPNU or an ESPN2 or ESPN.
Well, I'll tell you, I have noticed
kind of coverage.
The TV coverage is not near as good as it's been in the past, and what they're doing, they don't have as many cameras at the games as they've had in the past.
That's what it is,
and then half the announcers aren't even at the game. They're announcing the game from their house. So the you're really getting just one far-off camera angle, where in the past they would have 12 cameras, and the TV coverage is not near as good.
Mike,
I tell you, at first it was awful. They had no stadium sound coming in to the television, so it was almost like a tape game. It seemed like at first. But they finally started getting sound coming into the stadium, and you could hear the band play and the noise on the field and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes the noise, the crowd noise is too bad, and you can't hear the announcers. What I like to do is like Alabama and Troy and Auburn, when they're playing, I just turn down the TV and turn up the radio and listen to their broadcast.
I mute it and don't listen to some announcers. I like Blackledge and the guy he's partnered with. He's a real good announcer. I listen to them, but half the games I just mute it.
Of course, this is the mama station, and when they say it's your mother station, that means CBS at 2:30 is Alabama and Georgia. Mike, will there be any Troy telecast at all?
Yeah, it's going to be on ESPN3. So
it will? Well, won't you fix ESPN3 for me?
Well, you're going to be there.
Well, I'm saying that, but it'd give me an alternative.
I can leave my Fire Stick here, and you could watch it. Yeah.
Well, I might just do that. I want to be with my family. My family's down at the beach, and I would sort of. But if I do go, it might be later on. But we're looking at that this weekend.
What you ought to do is go to the half, and then just get in the car and drive down there and listen to it on the radio.
Yeah.
The rest of the way.
Well, I want to mention also that Troy next week, a week from Saturday, is Troy's homecoming. It's Troy Appreciation Day, but no parade, Mike. And Rice, I'll tell you this right now. I am 73 years old. I've been watching that parade since 1957, or probably maybe 54. Since 1954, that I knew what a parade looked like. I've been going to that parade. One time it was rained out, and I didn't see it. I've been to every parade until then, and now they're going to cancel it out on me.
You were probably
the annual parade.
I wonder how many people went
Troy.
to every parade. You might be the only person that's been to every one of them.
I've been to a lot of them. Let's just say this. When I was a little boy, do you think I would have missed that parade? No, sir. I walked to town, and I rode my bike to town, and went in Elmore's and got me a Tootsie Pop, and I was ready.
You know, I remember from my childhood, I didn't grow up in Troy, but I lived in Opelika, so it was close to Troy, and we'd visit grandmother a lot. And one week we must have stayed for a long time, because I remember staying with grandmother, and every night going to Mary Chevrolet with her, or one night, and they were building the float. Back then,
exactly.
The businesses built their own float.
Stuffing
the paper, that's
paper,
right.
Either with toilet paper or crepe paper or whatever.
That's one of my vivid memories, and then going to the parade on Saturday. I wish they still made their own float.
And at one time or another, you were probably on the floats, you know. But I would say this, that probably almost everybody in Pike County and even in surrounding counties, Luverne and Goshen and places like that, either have been to the parade or have had some member of your family been to the parade. It's just something. And yours truly has done the parade on TV for at least 25, maybe I would say 30 years, 35 years. We've been doing the parade live from downtown Troy, brought to you by Troy Cable, the greatest cable television in the land. Dick Freeman, you and Vicki and all the Freemans. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you for putting cable TV in Troy at its very best. Mike, you've been a lot of places, Rice, you've been a lot of places. Have you ever seen a cable network better than Troy Cable?
No.
Not in Alabama. No. I have not.
This is national. I don't think anybody in the nation has done what Troy Cable has done.
No, not with sports and
local coverage.
Local coverage
from a small town. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, we got a telephone call just in time to let you know. Thank you for being a part of our show. And Auburn fans, we're going to end with you doing this. Auburn, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. You will come back on today at 1:30. Auburn and South Carolina, big game coming up this weekend. What's the time on that game?
11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock in the morning. It's breakfast with the Gamecocks as Auburn and South Carolina go head-to-head this Saturday afternoon.
At William Rice Stadium.
Troy kickoff at 2:30. Alabama kickoff at 7 o'clock. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.